Everybody, and welcome back to the lounge. Glad to be here. Those of you also on Facebook, hope you guys enjoy this stream that we're going to be doing for you. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to tap on that subscribe button and join us here at the lounge. We would love to have you. And of course, we've got a guest with us today as well, and I'll be introducing him in just a moment. For that said, we'll go ahead and get started. Remember, if you got any questions, you can leave your comments in the comment section down below, or send us a chat when we enable the live chat. So that said, let's get this video started. Alright, hello everybody and welcome back. Glad to be here. It's been a minute since we've done a stream here at the lounge, but it is definitely a channel that needs to have attention. I mean, you know, I've done a lot of things through this channel. I've met a lot of good people through this channel. And I don't want to just leave it sitting on the side because I know there's people that really enjoyed the motivational things that we did through the lounge. You know, minus whatever marketing that got done or any of that. It's really about helping the people. That's what it's about. It's about the people. It's about the viewers. It's about you. With that said, we got Brandon with us. Brandon, welcome to the show, my friend.
Good evening, everybody.
Glad to have you. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, going good. We've got nice, cool fall temperatures and gonna get some rain next week, probably on Thursday, they're saying. So that's always a good thing. We need the rain. Very awesome.
Very awesome. So today we're actually going to be talking about recovery, addiction, and recovery. You know, I hear so many negative things about it, and I mean, folks, let's just face it. It's not fair for those of us that, you know, might not go through addiction. Those of us that maybe you've never ever went through addiction or recovery. That's even more of a reason to not be able to judge it, to not be able to point your finger at someone and say, well, that guy or that girl right there, they're just druggies. They're no good. They don't deserve anything. You know, they're not going to change. They're not trustworthy. They're lazy. They don't want to work. Where do we have the right? Where do you have the right to say such things to someone when you've never been in that situation? Because I can tell you
further, where does society have the right?
Well, exactly.
To say that?
And here's the thing. I can tell anybody right now that if you think for 1 second that, you know, that they're able to control that at all, I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. Now, I know what you're going to say, and it's the most common and most typical thing that I hear all the time is, well, they didn't have to start doing drugs. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But let me ask you, do you know what life that they live? Do you know what they might be going through? And I know you're going to get people that's going to say, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean run the drugs. Okay. Maybe you're right. But just maybe it's time to step back and understand that everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody has a breaking point. Everybody does. Me, Brandon, you, everybody has a breaking point. And sometimes that breaking point gets crossed. And so they lean to the drugs because it makes them feel better about themselves. It makes them feel better about the situation that they're dealing with. It makes them realize that while they're on drugs, they don't got to worry about anything because they feel 100%. They feel perfect. While at the same time, they're doing nothing more than destroying their body, killing their soul. And at some point, it'd come to an end. That's what I would like to prevent. I would like to prevent someone from getting to that point. And I know that we can't save everybody. I know that. It's not possible. But we can sure try. I've always been about motivation. I've always been about doing better, about lifting people up, about being there for people when they felt like no one was there, offering a shoulder when they feel like no one else was there to lean on. Well, that's what I do. That's what we do. That's why we are here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up the live chat and give people the ability to have a conversation with us. Worst case, it gets out of hand. I just close it and I'll continue giving the motivational stuff. Because either way, if it's someone that's just being silly to try to disrupt things, you're only helping the channel. Just remember that. You're helping us. For every letter, every word, every period, every space that you put in the chat, it's just helping us. And I just want to thank you for that. I appreciate it. I really do. So let's go to the chat.
Chat 29 of 34.
We'll open it.
Open O. Move to one. Open file. Run as administrator. Folder view list.
That way to be open. Maybe one of my admins might be there. Shauna. I don't
Restream
know.
chat row 1 column 1. Restream chat.
We'll
Type
find
a message.
out.
Edit blank.
All right. Chat is on.
Enable button. Button disable. Button enable.
I'm going to enable something as
Enable
well.
button focus.
Now you guys,
Activate. Clickable type of message. Edit.
it will automatically
Button
give
available.
a message
Button connect to
just in
channels.
case I miss something.
Button unavailable.
Okay. But chat is up. And yeah. So Brandon, let me ask you, have you ever known it? Do you know anybody did you ever know anybody that went through
Folder view.
drug addiction or
Windows Media. Restream chat row 1 column 2.
any of that?
Ops 28.0. Dashboard. Restream Google Chrome row 1.
No, I
Dashboard.
haven't, but I gotta say,
Tool.
when you were talking about people saying, well, why they'll never change, you know, they shouldn't be on drugs. I gotta say,
Clickable
I'm
banner
guilty of that in the
YouTube
past
home.
myself.
Clickable skip.
I
Search landmark.
say
Search combo
that,
box at
you know, because I was taught that by society, and then after I met you and see all the stuff
21,619. YouTube
you
document.
do with people who
Clickable
are
finance shop.
addicted
Latest
and
from
the
lounging with
recovery
content
they
in level 2.
made, it's
Clickable
like,
addiction and
it
recovery and how to
turns
move.
my whole point of
Visited.
view
Visited.
around. It's amazing.
I'm glad it
Banner
made,
landmark. Main. YouTube home.
Myself,
Clickable skip. Search landmark.
say
Search
that.
combo box at
You know, because I was taught that by
Clickable live chat
society,
mode.
and then after I met
I'm gonna
you,
edit
and
this
see all
out.
the stuff,
Status
I've never
and
known
command.
anybody personally that's gone through
there we go.
drug addiction.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back. My grandmother went through alcoholism when she was alive, but
What's that? Messages, 2 hours ago.
I'm gonna make
Those
sure
were-
you're not echoing it. It's not like we had echo going. I don't know if it's true or not. It might have been from where I was
let me
streaming.
see.
Well, I don't know.
Safari.
Um,
Phone. Double tap.
take me a minute here. Open YouTube.
Let me.
Loading videos. Loading videos. Explore. Selected. Search. Button. Search field. Hidden. Button.
Lounging with John.
Inserted lounging with John. Search. Cat. Expand speaking bar. Expand speaking bar. Lounging with John. Search field. Clear search. Voice search. Cast. More action. Activity indicator. Selected. Home. Shorts. Tap. 16 seconds, comma. More actions. 16 seconds, comma. Send the
let's
message
see.
today with the help. Sign up. Lounging with John, comma 995 subscriber. Unsubscribe. Current setting is all note. Latest from Lounging. Live, comma addiction and recovery.
Here we go.
Cast. Video player.
Perfect. Go ahead and say something, Brandon.
Testing. 1, 2,
That way I
3.
can make
Test, test,
sure
test.
that it's a little bit behind us, but that's okay. I'm not echoing, so that's good. You know, sometimes that's what it takes, though, Brandon, is
Oh,
it's
there is an echo on my
let
end.
me see. I think
Pause. But
I'm gonna sit that down for a minute. I think it's
Restream chat. Ops 28.0. Ops 28.
Let me
Stop
see.
stream. Scene. Break. Audio. Sort. Scenes window. List. Audio mixer window. Mute YouTube. Check volume slider for YouTube. Properties for YouTube button. Mute checkbox checked. Volume. Mute first officer checkbox not. Volume.
Okay.
Mute team talk checkbox not checked. Volume. Mute P3D audio checkbox not checked. Volume. Mute Windows media player checkbox not checked.
Let me try
Mute
something.
P3D volume. Mute team talk checkbox not checked.
Okay.
Checked.
What if I mute Team Talk? Go ahead and say something.
Colon 20.
Testing.
Video player.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Video.
3, 2, 1.
Live chat. Expand. Full. Select. Track. Next. Forward 10 seconds. Pause. But. Pause. Forward. Play. But.
Come on.
Pause. Video player. Video is loading in
It's
process.
because I'm out here and I'm not on Wi-Fi with the phone. And,
Okay.
Welcome to live chat. Learn more. Welcome. 3. Top chat. Close. Tap to sort. Clip. Live chat. Expand. Full screen. Selected. Track visit. Next video. Forward 10 seconds.
Come on.
Pause. But. Pause. Forward play. But. Pause.
I got it.
Video player. Heading.
you got what?
I got the YouTube stream open right now on my phone. So I'll be able to tell in a second.
Let me see if I can hear you after I check that. Because that might mute you. I want to make sure it doesn't. Actually, I can hear NVDA perfectly normal. Why? Oh, I think I know why. I think I know what it is.
Properties. Mute team talk checkbox checked. Not checked.
Let me uncheck you. Aha. Okay.
Checked.
Okay.
I'll just check you for now, but I know how to fix this because where I'm going through the mixer, where I can hear myself going through the
Oh, right.
mixer. Okay. So we got it fixed. So now you guys can hear Brandon at a normal, you can hear the normal
Yep.
Brandon. But yeah, it's, I like the fact that people, when you said that, you used to do that until you listen to the stuff that I've done and stuff that I do. And, that changed your attitude, on how to, think about people, because the fact of it is we don't know what these people go through. We don't know. Who knows what they're going through?
And I feel bad for some of them. Like I said, my grandmother, who was on my mom's side, when she was alive, before she died, she was an alcoholic. She drank beer constantly, and it was sad.
Yeah, and that alone by itself, alcohol, that is a disease itself. People drinking and they become alcoholics. Folks, that's not just something they want to do.
No. And I think in her case, it was the fact that she was so far away from her native country and things had happened to her. Family didn't tell her things when she wanted to be informed. They didn't tell her. So it drove her to drinking. It was really sad.
Exactly. And there's always some. Listen, as kids grow up, they will try drugs. They will. And sometimes they will fall under the category of they just grew up, they started trying drugs, and then they got addicted. It wasn't because of anything bad at all. But then once they become addicted, that's when it becomes a situation to where they really don't think at all that it's wrong. They don't think about that at all.
They think it's their normal life.
But then you've got those that do go through things. Those that grow up in homes where maybe they've been abused, beat, raped, neglected. Women that's been raped, neglected, abused, molested. All these different things lead to people getting started on drugs. It's their way to get away from the pain that they're suffering at that exact moment. And when they introduce these drugs into their body, to them that pain goes away. And the feeling of feeling good comes to them. And your brain, if it thinks it's good, it's going to continue to feed off of that. And I want you to think about that. Your brain feeds off of everything that not only does it feed off of it, but it's what sends the different signals, and there's chemicals, different chemicals that go through the brain. And one of those chemicals has to do with the addiction itself. Okay, and the brain gets to where it thinks that it needs more. It's there, it's already getting the right amount, but because of the addiction taking over, it's telling the brain, hey, you need more, you need more, you need more. And until you get the brain working different ways, where it's not focusing on the drug. For example, there's medicated drug rehabilitation. I believe it worked really good as long as it's done the right way. I believe there's good programs with that. And that medication, for example, Suboxone basically is sending signals, if you will, information to the brain where you're not thinking about the drug. You feel fine. You're feeling okay. So your brain doesn't think about the need for that drug. Now, granted, there's a lot more to it than what I'm saying, but I'm trying to get people to understand these are conditions that are not just somebody deciding, oh, that's just a lazy bum. That's why they do it. There was trolls on here that, you sell John's on drug. Well, first of all, it wasn't, never was. But that was just trolls being trolls. If I had been, you would know it. You would know it. Having a lazy eye, that is definitely not a sign of being on drugs. Or being a slim person, that's not the sign of being on drugs. It's just idiots that think they know what they're talking about when they don't. Let them think what they want. But the point is, it is a real situation. It is a real condition. And what I want people to know that are going through drug addiction is that here at the lounge, we're here for you. We're here for you to help you succeed in your future. And that means...
and I got to put something out there.
You go ahead.
Since I've been around you and observing some of the stuff you do, I've sat in on a few of the meetings you've had with the city officials and everything. And it really amazes me when you bring this topic up in recovery from drug addiction or alcoholism or whatever it is. And you even said yourself and showed the charts proving it, medicated treatment works.
Absolutely.
And what really amazes me is these same officials don't like that approach, but you bring up smoking and they approve it 100%. It's just amazing how much hypocrisy is out there.
There's a lot of it. I've got friends that have went through college that I've met that have went through, addiction. And they're really good people. Where they are today, I'm not fully sure, but because, I don't talk to them anymore, but they made it all the way through college. They got through the addiction, they got through the rehabilitation, and they turned their life around. Don't let people tell you that you can't succeed, because that's where you will fail, is when you start listening to people belittling you and badgering you and putting you down. Because the only thing that's doing is making them feel good. It makes them feel good about themselves to hurt someone else. And it's a sad way to live. It's a sad way to be. And no one deserves it. No one deserves it. So when you got people in your life, if you got people in your life that are being negative, you got to get away from that. If you want to do better, you got to get away from the things that are holding you down. And sometimes that might even mean walking away from family. Sometimes even walking away from a husband or a wife. If they're against you, if they're against the idea. Because if you don't take over in whatever way that you decide to do it, it'll just destroy you. You got to take over and you got to decide how things are going to be. It might be painful in the beginning, but as you go through it, the longer you go through it, the easier it will become, the less painful it will be, and you'll be able to sit back and say, you know what, John was right. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. I don't believe that there's one person out there that cannot, I think that every person out there that might ever come through the lounge or that I might, ever meet that's addicted to drugs, I believe that every one of you have the ability to get away from it. So, here's what I want to talk about tonight. I wanted to talk about triggers. Things that trigger you to continue to do your drugs. Now, it might sound silly, but it's as real can be. You've got little things that can trigger you to want to go and hit that drug again. Take that pill. Load that needle. Smoke that pipe. I'm talking about crack. I'm not talking about pot. I encourage you to do pot over top of all these other drugs. In my book, pot's not a bad thing. Just make it legal and be done with it. That's what I say. Let me give you a couple of examples of things that might trigger you to want to do drugs. All right. Now, we're assuming maybe you're trying to go through recovery, you're trying to save from drugs, and then you get these little things that happen, and then you backslide. So what are some of them things? Before I tell you what some of the things are, Brandon, you got any guesses on, now I know you've never done drugs, but this is pretty, straightforward stuff. What do you think I mean by triggers? What do you think could trigger someone to go back to doing drugs, to want it again?
I think possibly if you were in an environment where drugs were the norm and let's say you recovered and then you went back to that environment, that could trigger you.
All right, so going back to the environment where the drugs are. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's an easy way to fall back off the wagon. So number one, going back to the environment you came from, where you started the drugs. All right. Number two, any other guesses before I give more of these?
Associating with people who you used to know that did drugs.
Bingo. Associating with those that were so-called friends. We'll call them your drug buddies. Associating with your drug buddies. You go back and associate with them. and they're still doing drugs, what's going to happen? It's a trigger for you to start doing drugs again.
You know what? I take that back. My aunt is like that. My mom's younger sister is a druggie.
Okay. So there you go. You know someone that's going through it. Okay, number 3, the third thing, stress. Stress can cause you to want to go back to the drugs. So if you start feeling stressed, just aggravated, talk to someone. Go talk to someone. There's always someone to talk to. If you don't have anyone, there's always someone you can call to talk to. So find someone to talk to. So that's number 3 is stress. Here's a good one for you. I was just told the story the other day. Maybe you have a routine. You drive, you have a routine, and going from work to home, you know how to get home a little quicker if you take a certain street. It'll save you 5 minutes. But if you take that street, you got to drive past a liquor store every day. That's a trigger. You see the liquor store, it will make you end up wanting to stop. Well, I'm just going to stop and get me a bottle. Just one bottle. I had a rough day today at work. Listen.
I need a bottle.
Go the other direction, because that 5 minutes of saving you 5 minutes quicker to get home is going to take you back the wrong direction in trying to recover. So don't go that way. Who cares if it takes 10 more minutes? It's worth it. Here's another one for you. Family members. Now, you would think family members would always be supportive, but there's always going to be those that are not supportive, and sometimes you will have to leave or stay away from those family members, because it can trigger you. It can put you in a bad mood, stress you out, and what are you going to do? You're going to go look for the drugs, because you're going to get mad. You're going to get angry. And it's going to give you a reason to go and find drugs. Now, folks, these are just some of the different reasons. I'm actually in the process of putting together a page full of resources where you can get help. There's resources on places you can connect to just to have someone to talk to, places you can go for the recovery, because sometimes it takes you admitting yourself as an inpatient if it's bad enough. So I'm going to be working on a page that will give you the support that you need. Now, I'm going to try to make it resources that are just, no matter where you're at. It's, I can't promise you it's going to be every state, but I'm going to do my best. At some point, I want the page to have every state, to make a larger sector of resources and support. That's what it's about. Those of you that might be going through drug addiction right now, and maybe you're still on drugs, I want you to stop for a minute. I want you to think about something. think about the positive things outside of doing drugs. The things that you could have if you didn't do drugs. Maybe a new car, a new house, maybe a family, a relationship where you can start your own family, a good job, a good environment, a better community. All these things that I'm telling you to think about, it's all possible, but it starts with you. And I want you to think about something tonight until I come back on our next live stream that we do, because we're going to start doing these quite often. But I want you to think about where you could be and if it's worth it. I want you to think about all the things that you could have. But the first step is the most important. The first step is admitting that you got a problem. If you can't admit it, if you can't recognize that you have a problem, it's going to make it harder for you to recover. And if you can't admit it that you got a problem, that's probably where you might need inpatient care. And I don't blame you because of this. I'm just saying that if you can't admit it, then what are the odds that you're going to follow through all these steps by yourself to recover? I think it would be very slim, because you're going to be already saying, well, I ain't got a problem. I'm not addicted to drugs. I do it because I want to. I'm not addicted. I've heard that 1,000,000 times. But here's something to think about. If you can admit that you got a problem, that is the first step to succeeding. Point blank. Everybody in my book deserves to live a happy life. No matter who you are or where you are, you deserve to live a happy life. Now, I'm not representing criminals. They deserve to pay the price of whatever crimes they've committed. But then after they've paid that price, then yes, they deserve to live a better life. But I'm talking about the ones that are going through drug addiction, drug usage, recovery. All of you deserve to live a better life, to have a better life. And it's not as hard as you think. One step leads to the next, to the next, to the next. And if you follow them steps, you will get through it. You will succeed. I'm not going to go over it tonight, but on the next live stream that when we go live, we're going to talk about getting you to look at something that you would like to do in your life. So I want you to think about it as well. Maybe one goal that you have. Before I go, the last thing I want to talk about is something that you could do every day, and it's simple. I want you to wake up every day and I want you to remind yourself how great you really are. Don't listen to others, ladies. Don't listen to the ones that are downing you. Maybe you're in an abusive relationship and now you feel like you're no good. That's not true. There's even men that go through that. In a bad relationship, and now you feel like you're no good. That you're worthless. That's not true. So I want you to remind yourself every day that you wake up, take 5 minutes and give yourself some positive feedback. Give yourself some positive things. I am smart. I am beautiful. I will succeed. I will stop doing drugs. I will get a good job. Whatever it is, make it positive and make it about you. And just take 5 minutes to yourself each day that you wake up. It's worth it. I see people going through drug addiction all the time, and they get through the recovery and their life turns around. While you're sitting there thinking that there's no hope. That's not true. You're in the dark. That's why you don't see it. Everything's dark. Everything's foggy in your mind. And it's sad because, honestly, Brandon, people get in these they get in these situations where the only thing they think about is a negative.
Yep.
And when you're in a negative situation for so long, that's all you think about. And you might believe that there is no positive things coming ahead, but that's because you've been in a bad situation for so long. But I'm telling you that all you got to do is change what you're doing. Change your pattern. Do something new and make it positive about you. Forget everybody else around you. Are they helping you? Are they assisting you to do better? Are they holding your hand? No. Those that are around you right now are other people that are doing drugs. Those ain't friends, not at all. Those are not friends. Those are your drug buddies. Let me tell you something. Watch what happens when you recover. And tell me where those friends are. Because I bet you they won't be around. All right. For tonight, I just wanted to kind of get the ball going so people kind of know that we're back. I'm going to start doing this motivational stuff every week. It's important to me to help others. I mean, I've been going and, I started in college for criminal justice, but then I moved up to psychology, and now I'm taking it 100%. I take it very serious. I've decided the direction that I'm going to go. And because of that, me going that direction, that's also helping you. Because that's what I want to do. I want to help other people succeed. I want to see other people do better tomorrow. Don't make it about today. When you wake up tomorrow, forget about today. It's over. It's done. Focus on what you can do that day. If today was a new day, I would hope that you're focusing on the things that you can do to make your life better. To improve your life, your ability, your accountability, your success. That is where it counts, my friends. So I'm here to tell you, the lounge is a place where you can always come. You can always kick back. You will not be judged. You will not be shied away or put in the corner. That's how important this is to me. Brandon, any thoughts about recovery and anything along those lines before we close this up tonight?
I think it's absolutely possible to turn your life around if
Ops
you recover
28.0.3, 60.
from
Volume slider for
alcoholism, drug abuse, drug usage, and lead a normal life.
Ops
I mean, there's
28.0.3, 64-bit Windows
testaments
profile,
to
P3D
that.
scenes, P3D. Mute team talk, checkbox
Like,
checked.
I remember
Properties for first,
a
volume
couple
slider
days
for mute
ago,
first
you
officer,
were in a
checkbox not checked.
meeting
Properties,
about
volume,
this
mute
very
checkbox
topic,
checked.
and
Properties, volume,
somebody
mute out,
actually
checkbox,
was a
scenes,
drug
source, audio,
user
mix,
and
scenes,
turned their
duration,
life
spin button, add
around,
configure,
has
controls,
a
windows,
nice
stop streaming,
job,
checkbox checked.
has nice,
Windows Media Player,
owns a
status and
house,
command.
owns vehicles, and I don't know what to say as far as if that's not recovery. I don't know what is.
Who were you saying?
I was referring to when you were talking about this topic a couple of days ago when somebody was in the room and they turned their life completely around.
Absolutely. Guys, let me tell you something. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've never went through anything rough in my life. Because I have. I didn't start turning my life around and really until I was older. You know, at the age of 23, 22, I realized that it was time to make a change. But I really didn't really truly start making the big changes that affected me until about 6 years ago. And that's when I decided that I was going to set goals. I was going to follow through with them goals. And I was going to change my life. And guess what? I'm not saying that I live in a mansion because I don't. But I'll tell you that I'm on my way. When I started college, I didn't have anything at all. I didn't have anything. I set the goals to go to college and to do better for myself. I set goals to have vehicles so that I could get around. Every goal that I've set, I've accomplished. I've got 1 year left, and my main goal on that list will be checked off. Everything else, well, once I can check that off, everything else will just start falling off. Getting a good job, that's just going to fall right off. Buying a new house, that's going to fall right off. Guys, there's no way you can go wrong if you're going right. There's no way you can fail if you're doing all the right things to do better in your life. There's absolutely no way. It's not possible. It is absolutely scientifically impossible to go the wrong way if you're doing all the right things. I want you to think about that. And some might say, wow, he's really into this. Yeah, I'm really into this because I know for a fact that every one of you that are being judged, belittled, put down, pushed away, abused, used, I know for a fact that your life can become so much more than what it is. I see all these girls, these ladies that, and no offense, men, because I know men go through it too, but it's a much higher rating for women. They get with these guys and they're treated like dirt. And they keep going back and going back and going back and going back. And they say, well, I don't understand. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? That's what you're doing wrong. You're going the wrong way. You're going back. And you don't deserve it. And it takes people like me and other psychologists out there to tell you that you are going the wrong way. And all you got to do is give yourself credit. Love yourself. Because when you love yourself, let me tell you something. It's going to be real hard for someone to get away with treating you like dirt. Because you're not going to put up with it. Because you're going to love yourself enough to know that You don't deserve it. Same with the drug addiction. You're going to love yourself to know that the only thing you're doing is hurting yourself, hurting your body, hurting your life, hurting your future, your family, your real friends. I want you to think about everything I've talked about tonight, but I'm telling you, you stick with the lounge, you stick with me, you stick with what I say, and I'm going to put you on the path to success, my friends, because I believe in every single one of you. I don't care if you do meth, heroin, crack, cocaine, pills, alcohol. Stick with me. You're going to enjoy the ride. Alright, you guys, until next time, I want to thank you for being a part of the lounge. I want to remind you to tap on that subscribe button and join us here. After doing so, be sure to set your notifications to always so you're notified each and every time that we publish a new video. Remember, my friends, we only live life one time. And while we're living in this world, we should make it the best life that we possibly can. No matter what drug addiction you're going through, I believe in you. And I believe that you, my friend, can succeed. And as Roy Vaden said, what is the impossible? Nothing is impossible, my friends.
Ops 28.0.36. Ops 20. Start recording. Stop streaming. Checkbox.